Today's poll of the day. Obviously, we're going to talk about the Sixers to start off today, but who's winning the standoff? Is it James? Is it Daryl? Or at the end of the day, will the fans just lose regardless? And of course, the consensus is that the fans will lose here today with 92.9% leading the way. Daryl is second with 7.1. No one's got any votes for James, but you guys can participate in the poll. Follow me at Barcelona Philly. But of course, we all got the news today. Woj brought the report. Of course, Not Daryl Morey. James Harden gets fined the 100,000. So in your opinion here, man, where are we heading with this situation here, Dylan?
Where are we heading? Well, the poll's correct because 110% the fans are going to lose out at the end of this situation. Where we're headed is probably very close to training camp time, if not getting into training camp. Will he show up? Will he not? Obviously, with the new bylaws and the CBA and everything like that, he can be fined. The Sixers can withhold his pay. He really doesn't have a leg to stand on. James Harden has to show up and can't be a nuisance at practice in camp. However, he's still going to find a way to disrupt things. So where we're headed is probably getting rid of James Harden for pennies and nickels on the dollar at this point, which is why the fans lose, because it's just you're not reaching that. You're not getting closer to that goal of getting past the second round. Moving on from James Harden for whatever package Daryl Morey is going to have to muster up is not going to get the job done, man. So we're headed towards what I view as a pretty depressing start to a Sixers season.
Yeah, man. Real quick, I want to say hello to Scotty. Our boy Scotty's in the chat. We got our boy Kata Media checking on. He's got himself a Surfside lemonade today. Okay. Dylan Davis, the MVP. We agree here on this side for sure, man. So I guess I want to ask here, because a lot of the consensus as well, and this might be from the Harden Knights, as I like to call them.
Sure.
But does James have a point at all in this situation? Like, is he right in any of this?
No, I spoke on this with Scotty, and that's not to say that Daryl Morey isn't wrong in any of this. I'm not sure. None of us are sure what went down 12, 13, 14 months ago during those contract negotiations when James Harden took a pay cut to help, fix this roster a little bit, but ultimately brought his friends here in PJ Tucker and Montrezl Harrell and Daniel House. And we all applauded that. We all applauded the teammate that James Harden was at that time. But I spoke about this with Scotty yesterday. Even if there was a handshake deal in place when he signed that 2-year deal last offseason, you have to hold up to your side of things on the floor, James. And you simply didn't do that. Parcero, if he was anything like regular season James Harden in the postseason, he would be a Sixer for 4 more years. Daryl Morey would have had no issue giving James Harden a max deal if he was 20-9, 20-8, James Harden, efficient from the floor. Even if they were still a second-round exit, he would most likely be back. Yeah. The problem is you saw what the floor looks like at James Harden's play at this point of his career. He has an injury history recently.
Yeah,
he has a low. You can't go from 40 and 10 to 9 and 8 on 2 of 11 shooting in a playoff series. The distance can't be the gap can't be that huge. So you have to hold up your side of the bargain if you're James Harden. And he simply didn't do that. So why would Daryl Morey in his right mind turn around and say, it doesn't matter how poorly you played. It doesn't matter if you gave up on your team in game 7. I'm still going to hand you this $4 million max. It doesn't matter if James Harden leaked all those rumors about the Houston Rockets all season long. He has no leg to stand on. And the bottom line, he opted in.
Well, listen, so here's the thing with James, and we talked about this on the show before. James Harden right now, the way I look at it, is just being a spoiled brat. The man doesn't want to own up to what the mishaps were of the Sixers.
Correct.
Reason why he wants to leave is because he wants to get paid. He wants to play ball. He wants a chance to win. But if the team loses, he does not want all that weight on his shoulders. The Sixers lost the second round. Who gets majority of the blame? Joel and James, and rightfully so. Those are your star players. That's who you look at to get you out of this second round. I truly believe that Daryl did keep his word, and he did try to trade James Harden once he opted into the deal this year.
For sure.
But my guy, like you just saw right now the market for you when you James created all those narratives. Come Christmas time, you're gonna go to Houston in the off season. Well, guess what Houston said? James, we love you. You'll always be a Rocket legend.
Yeah,
but
we're gonna pivot.
Worth that money right now. And that's where James is at right now. He's trying to create this narrative, and it's so funny. And he forgets that Philadelphia is smarter than what we may appear to be. We know why you're pissed off. We know why you're forcing out. You don't want to hear it. You don't want the pressure. And so, yeah, fans, at the end of the day, we're going to lose out in the situation because even if James does come back, I just don't see this roster doing anything to get out of the second round. Like, I think, if anything, we took a step back. But I guess the best question now to ask, Dylan, if it is true what James is saying, that the main problem right now is Daryl, it's not the organization, it's just Daryl. If you're the Sixers, do you just part ways with Daryl in order to just get something out of this season with James?
No, because at the end of the day, if you are Elton Brand, if you are Sixers ownership, if you're Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, regardless of what his issues are with Daryl Morey at this point off the floor, Daryl Morey is still the president of basketball operations for your franchise. So by him taking a direct shot at your basketball, president of ops, that's a shot at your franchise as well. So no, I don't think there's any healing of this relationship. And not to mention, if you get rid of Daryl Morey to appease James Harden, just like we got rid of Doc Rivers to somewhat appease James Harden at the end of the season, although a lot more goes into the Doc thing, but you're almost validating James Harden's point at that point. And like I said at the beginning of the show, I don't think there's anything there to say that James Harden is correct in this situation. So if you part ways with Daryl Morey, it has to be aside from what's going on with James Harden. I told Scotty yesterday, I would give Daryl Morey one more year. Whatever happens with this James Harden situation, whatever he can muster back for him, whatever roster he can put on the floor this year, he gets one more year. If the Sixers are another first or second round exit, and Daryl Morey has not done anything creatively enough with this roster, then you part ways with both of them, and then you try to really restart this thing. But then, that's a whole nother topic, because now you're another year into Joel Embiid's career, and you got a whole lot of other issues. But I did love your point real quick about the fact that he doesn't want to take any of the blame, any of the criticism. Mm-hmm. He doesn't want to be held accountable. And I truly believe that's why he opted in. Here's my thing. James Harden opted in because he saw what the market was. Philly wasn't giving him that max. Houston pivoted. LA can be as interested as they want to appear in trade talks.
At their price.
They weren't giving him that max. No one was giving him that max. So here's what James Harden did. He opted in. He's going to hold the team hostage, and now it's their fault for not getting me to where I want to be, not my fault for not getting the deal from another team in free agency.
Dude, what a piece of crap, man.
He's unreal.
And the thing is like, what hurts, Dylan, is that, like, you and I were part of DSM Media during the trade in 21, the deadline trade when he was in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
We defended James. I know myself, like, I defended James. I had 100%. Nets fans all in my comment section. And look, we're getting a taste of this medicine. And the thing is that, like, the Houston situation, you can understand why he would want to trade out. The Brooklyn situation, you can understand why he'd want to get traded out. The Sixer situation, you see why he wants to get traded out, but there's just no justifying him acting like this whatsoever, man. And this is what's so frustrating about the situation.
Not at all, because if you go to the Brooklyn situation, I agree with you. The Houston thing, you can handle things differently. You don't gotta go to the clubs when the team's on a plane going back home. You don't gotta put on your fat suit and appear out of shape just to get your way. But the Brooklyn and Philly things are interesting because both to him seem toxic, right? He's calling out Daryl Morey for their relationship. Well, if Kyrie Irving and that whole situation in Brooklyn was as toxic as it seemed, and it's part of the reason you wanted out of there and you were holding out and not playing, why didn't you grab a microphone then? Why were you using the other antics to get you out of there? But now you can't get your way out of Philly, so I'm going to grab this thing right here, and I'm going to call Daryl Morey a liar. Not even here. You went to China to do it. Like, you're such a fraud. Like, you're so, oh my God, dude. He couldn't even do it in the US somewhere. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
And then he calls, and then he comes back, and then he calls his local Houston news station to come to wherever he's working out or training or whatever.
he's a clown.
And he wants to tell him, like, hey, the relationship with the Sixers, there's no repair. It's too far gone. It's like,
Yeah.
just keeps
Apparently he'd like to play in China at some point because these fans go absolutely berserk for him. Go play for Shanghai, dude. Go play for the Shanghai Sharks and win a chip if that's what you want to do.
Just do it now, man.
Jesus.
Interesting, Kyle. Daryl's wait, no, that's one. Strip clubs in Philly must be atrocious because James wants to leave that. But I mean, listen, the strip clubs in Philadelphia, they do not compare to some around the country. I'm just saying. Daryl's getting
experience, Parcero.
What's up?
Personal experience,
man. Personal experience, man. We do not have good strip clubs around, that's for sure. Daryl's getting canned at the end of the year anyway, but getting rid of him does
agreed.
I'll be honest with you. If he gets canned this year before the season starts, I won't be phased because my expectations for this team is not very high. Like, I could see this team getting in the first round, getting in the second round again, but I just don't see any way this team gets out of the second round. And yes, the James Harden situation hindered our roster building for this year. But Dylan, we did lose a good amount of talent from that team that did make it to the second round again.
Oh, they're not a good enough team by any stretch. And what Daryl has done so far this offseason, see, that was the thing that kind of is getting so, it's kind of getting overshadowed right now with all this drama. And now blaming Harden was he made these minuscule moves, right? He made these marginal moves in Patrick Beverley, and he brings back Paul Reed, and you go out and you get Mo Bamba, right? And he's doing these little things where, okay, if you could add some real pieces, now those depth pieces off the bench become much more attractive in a Patrick Beverley and Mo Bamba. The issue is, well, a lot of us had this thought in our heads that we were going to trade Tobias Harris for a couple pieces. Well, apparently that's not happening. And then we thought, well, we're going to trade James Harden for a star or whatever. Well, evidently we can't even get Terrence Mann for James Harden. So now you're running into a season with the same team you had last year plus Pat Bev and Mo Bamba, or you're losing James Harden for almost nothing, and you added Pat Bev and Mo Bamba. So I agree with you, dude. Like, I don't see right now, until Daryl Morey proves me otherwise, I don't see a light at the end of the tunnel for this upcoming season. I don't see a chance in hell where they're a top 4 or 5 team in the East. Like, they might finish 4th or 5th seeding wise. That does not mean I take them as seriously as that type of seed when it comes to winning a title. I'm out on them right now.
Well, in these type of situations, a fan base can only look at an owner. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is a freaking owner right here. Huh.
Is it, but we still like to win.
Yeah, I mean, you're no stranger. You're no stranger to sports teams. Managing general partner of the.
Look at Troy. Wait, just look at Troy's face real quick.
I mean, you're no stranger to
right here.
Professional sports teams.
Dylan, that's our owner, man.
He doesn't know what to do with his hands. Doesn't know.
How about you put him back into the Sixers, man? I don't know, Josh.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, yeah, or Kata's right, or he's just drunk. I have no idea, dude.
Dude,
do you remember on Monday Night Football years ago when Eminem was in the booth and he was? You don't remember this?
No.
Look, he was high as a kite in this Monday Night Football booth, like all perked out or something, dude.
It was like Joe Namath on Monday Night Football. Mm-hmm. If you remember that one. That's freaking crazy. What is your thoughts, man, on our guy, the Harris Group buying another professional franchise?
I mean, face value, it comes across as disappointing and bad because you see all the problems we're having internally, and it's just like, well, his focus is elsewhere, clearly. You know what I mean? So it does make you wary from that point of view. But yeah, I mean, I think ownership is a big issue with the Sixers right now, and that's why you see internally everything else that is going on. It's just kind of a trickle down effect. but he just seems like a clown anyway. Like he's just, I don't know.
Just like one of those like guys that just ran into a bunch of money, doesn't know what to do with it, and so it's like, well, let me buy NBA, NFL, MLS, NHL, Premier League. This man's got all the toys that he could possibly want. It's it's funny.
But yet he doesn't own one successful franchise. Not one.
None. They're all like mediocre at best.
Yeah.
And and like just look at like the situations this team has had since he's taken over, right? So obviously like the process years, that was really controversial, right? And then you go into the Colangelo, the burner
gate.
Where we go? We go to all the draft picks, right? You go to
went to Elton.
Yeah. You give like, dude, one of the most underrated situations for this team was giving the reins of general manager after the Colangelo things to Brett Brown.
Oh yeah.
Goes and drafts Zaire Smith over Michael Bridges, dude.
Yeah. Got an allergy.
Ben Simmons, now James Harden. Oh, the tampering last year. Like, dude, good ownership. Like Jeffrey Lurie doesn't have this crap happening.
No, if it happens, great franchises, if something like this happens, they learn from it. And things like this will never continue to occur. But when the same thing continues to happen over and over and over again, and you find yourself in controversy after controversy after controversy, it's time to look in the mirror, bro. Like it starts at the top at this point. It's not just a coincidence that every general manager or every coach or every highly talented, every first round draft pick you bring in finds themselves in some sort of shit here in the city.
Jimmy Butler said it best, man, when he called us out in that JJ Redick podcast, man. We were a joke of an organization. There's a reason why he wanted to leave, man.
Yep.
They're gonna make a 15-part Netflix doc on the atrocity of the Sixers over the last 15 years, man.
They could.
I would like that. I would like a documentary looking into what exactly went down over these past 10 so years.
Dude, let me ask you something. The Flyers, although they're in a very bad state right now, and they're going through this entire rebuild process right now with Danny and Jonesy, and obviously as a fan, you start to see the light at the end of the tunnel with shedding the bad contracts and the Mitch Cobb pick and everything like that. But the Sixers get away with so much more? The Sixers get away with just being a mediocre franchise so much more than the team lower than them on the food chain here in the city. Like the Sixers have a larger fan base, I would say. Maybe not a more passionate, because we know how the strict Flyers fans are, that group, right? But the Flyers get held accountable over the last decade or two so much more than the Sixers do. Like in the moment, we rip the Sixers apart. But then it's like once the next season starts, we wipe our hands clean and just put these blinders on again, like things are going to be different. How did we get here where they have less of a responsibility to fix problems than the Flyers do?
And I think they're starting to now get that accountability. I think what it is, Dylan, is that, Philadelphia's not a dumb sports market, right? We understand how the NBA works. You need those star players. And we've had those star players. The problem is those star players haven't been able to get over the hump. I think like having Joel, having James here, having Ben here for a little bit, I think like that is what gave Sixers fans that hope, like, okay, well, maybe next year we get a little bit deeper. You add this piece, add that coach, add this coach. And
I
we would
agree,
get over the hump.
But
I think that's what happened over these past couple of years.
I agree, and I'm part of the problem. To Scotty's last comment, me and him do pregame the last 2 years, and we're going to continue to do it again this year. But that's the problem I'm talking about. Putting those blinders on and believing that this time it's going to be different. Dude, no one believed that this team was different than past years, more so than me and Scotty this year. And we got knocked right back down to reality real hard and real quickly. And it's like, I'm not doing that again.
Yeah.
I'm going to try not to do that again. I talk a big game on August 22nd, but.
And dude, they did look deeper last year than they did.
They did. Well, let's be honest with you. They were 5 minutes away from getting over that hump. And then the MVP didn't touch the ball.
And another game 7, they didn't show up, man. And that is the story of being a Sixers fan, man. That is the story of it. The Sixers can't even get the arena right, man.
Yeah.
Dylan.
Scotty, that last comment, man. I know. I don't want to talk about it right now.
Who's
I
the
don't
common denominator here?
Right
Joel
there, right there. I don't want to do it.
Joel, Hans, and Embiid, man. And his so that discussion is gonna start coming after this shenanigans. That's gonna be the next topic.
Well, he's got shenanigans of his own going on right now, and Joel Embiid was undoubtedly my favorite athlete in the city of Philadelphia over the last 5+ years. He has trickled on down easily to number 3 with what is happening right now, dude.
The dude just won the MVP, man.
Yeah. I can't take the immaturity and what feels like lack of accountability with him as well. Man, I can't take it anymore. I talk about this all the time. Whether he is trolling, grow up. Or if you're not trolling, stand behind what you said in the first place. That's my beef with him, right, man? On social, James Harden makes these comments. He deletes processing from his bio. He deletes the location of Philadelphia from his bio. Is he trolling? Is he being serious? Maybe should have scored more than 17 points in Game 7. Maybe should have touched the ball. Like, I can't take it much more, man.
I get you, man, and that's why we say on the show we have Sixers fatigue. This is an interesting one here. Real quick, in the city or out the city? Or I'm sorry, in downtown or out downtown, I should say.
I mean, I like the complex. I love the sports complex down there. Obviously, wish they had their own building, but that's how a lot of the hockey and basketball arenas work anyway. When you see the pictures of the original plan for how the building's going to look, if it turned out anything like that, it looks awesome. It looks beautiful. It looks majestic, right, in the middle of the city. But I hate it. Like, I'm not a public transportation guy. I'm not a let me hop on SEPTA or the train and get down to the game. I'm not that guy. I like driving down. I like to forget tailgating. Like that's gone down there. So, yeah, it's inevitably happening. But what's up?
How often do we tailgate Sixers?
I mean, I do when I go. I mean, maybe that's just me.
I feel you, man. I just see it being a nightmare, honestly.
Yeah.
Like my fiance, she worked not anymore. She's now full-time remote, but she was working right across the street from City Hall. Dude, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, get the hell out of Center City. Mm-hmm. And imagine having an NBA franchise down there on game day. Forget about it, man. So
does it help crime? Does it worsen crime? I don't know.
That remains to be seen. My concern, Dylan, I'm all about culture, and I love Chinatown, and I just don't want them to get messed with. We need that in our city. So that's
I'm pretty sure they are. I'm pretty sure they're getting the boot.
Yeah. If they mess with that, I'm out. I'm out on that, man. We can't mess with Chinatown, brother.